What is going on, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? It's David here with Mac Tutorials 14, and we're back with the 12th episode of our podcast. Please note that this episode was recorded months ago, before school started. Some of the things that we talk about are now irrelevant and happened long ago. Please keep this in mind while listening to this episode. Anyway, in this episode we talk about all things WWDC 2014 and much, much more. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is David here with Mac Tutorials 14. This is Let's Talk Tech, episode number 12. I have my co-host on the line, Max, from In Other Apple News. It's been a long time coming. It's been a really long time since Let's Talk Tech, since the last episode. So, what's up, Max? How you doing since then?
I've been very good. I can't wait until the summer. I bet you feel the same way.
Yeah, we had a lot of. As a matter of fact, actually, we had graduation practice today, and where we live, it was like 90 degrees today. It was crazy. So we were walking around in like 90-degree weather. They made us line up in like graduation order. It was like really boring. But it was just wow. It's like it's that time of the year already, where people are graduating, and so I'm excited. But we have a lot of Apple-oriented stuff to talk about today, especially something that just happened, which we'll get to later. But do you want to go ahead and start, Max?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so yes, so we have a lot of things to talk about. So WWDC 2014. You want to talk about what's new?
Oh, I'm going first?
Sure, if you want to.
Alright. Well, first on the list for WWDC 2014, we have iOS 8 Quick Reply. And I'll explain what this does. When you get a text notification, you can swipe down and quickly reply to that text notification without leaving the current app you are in. And it sounds very familiar, and I bet they based it off of the jailbreak tweet. Can't remember that name.
By SMS. Awesome. Anyway, so
got a call?
yeah, I think I got a jailbreak cold. A jailbreak cold mixed with Apple. Anyway, so Max, you're definitely 100% right. I mean, this is a feature that has been a long time coming to iOS, to stock iOS. This has been a long time jailbreak feature. Jailbreakers first really introduced it in the Byte SMS, I believe on like iOS 5. So it's been a long time coming, and I thought Apple did a really fantastic job. They called it interactive notifications, but it's still quick reply. That's the name that a lot of people give it. So it's really awesome. We've been waiting. They actually did it, I believe, on OS X. I think not last year, but I think they did it 2 years ago with Mountain Lion. So when they added it in Mountain Lion, a lot of people were like, okay, so you can do this now, but when is it coming for iOS? So a lot of people thought it was going to be for iOS 7, but that just didn't happen because there were so many new things in iOS 7. I think Apple just kind of let that go a little bit. But now in iOS 8, they're introducing their own new quick reply feature. So this doesn't just work, let me stress on this, it doesn't just work with text notifications, it also works with Facebook posts and Twitter posts and stuff like that. It works with single user applications. So say you get someone updates a status on Facebook and they tag you in it. So if you have your Facebook account set up and you have a Facebook, you have the Facebook app and you have all that set up there, what it's actually going to do is it's actually going to go ahead and show, it's going to say, this person tagged you in a status. So it's going to say you can swipe down on that notification, and from there you can comment on the post, you can like that post. So it's not just for it's not just for text notifications. It's for developers as well, and it's going to be a very handy thing. And I really hope from there you're going to be able to tweet. That would be awesome if you could tweet straight from there, which is something I don't think is too far off. Because you're able to do it you were able to do it on iOS 6 if you swipe down and did it from the notification center, but unfortunately Apple took that feature away in iOS 7. So that's just something I would like to see be improved in quick reply. How do you like it, Max?
We tested it, right?
Yeah.
We downloaded the first beta of iOS 8. And my opinion on it is that I really liked it, and I like the notification that you got. And I think it's an overall new feature to Apple.
Right. Um, and that's actually something that's that's I mean, like, listen, I know Andrew. This is I'm gonna switch over to the dark side here and talk about Android for a second. Because listen, I know a lot of my friends that have Androids, and they've said, listen, this is nothing new to us. We've had this feature for it feels like 5-6 years now. So you can just get it from the Google Play Store. You can get a messenger application and customize the way your messages works. So that isn't something you can do on iOS. So it's new in that sense. But I like to see Apple changing the game a little bit, opening up their iOS a little bit more. And I'll say this year was definitely 100% a lot more developer oriented than WWDC has ever been. So it was nice to see that different things that they've announced, such as quick reply and everything else for iOS 8 and OS X and stuff like that. So you want to touch on the what's new in iOS 8 with the third-party keyboards, what that's all about?
Sure, why not? Alright, so iOS 8 third-party keyboards. For the first time, Apple is now allowing users to customize their keyboards to have anything they want from swipe to flex key.
Okay, so basically, this was, like I said, a very developer-oriented conference this year. And I think they introduced a lot of things that developers could touch on. So the really exciting thing about this third-party keyboards is a lot of the jailbreak tweaks that we've seen in the past. For example, Swipe Selection Pro. For example, a couple of jailbreak tweaks that allowed you to swipe on the keyboard and switch between character to character. So now Apple's made that possible. But there is, they've made the swipe keyboard possible, which is something I actually had on Android when I had my Galaxy S1 back in, I believe, 2010, 2011. So I had it a while ago. But it was back before, back before the iPhone was like really, really popular. And I remember, having Swipe, this Android-style keyboard, very good. It was actually a well-designed keyboard because basically what Swipe allowed you to do is allowed you to basically, which iOS doesn't have, you could just swipe the different characters and say you wanted to make it, say you wanted to make it, let's say, I don't know, let's say you wanted to say, Max, how are you? So you would just slide over, you would swipe your fingers over M, A, X, and then swipe your fingers over the space, and then HOW, and etc. So it's a pretty cool functioning keyboard. And Max actually made a note that I spelled swipe wrong, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, so so it's swipe SWPE, not SWIPE. So anyway, so that's actually something I'm looking forward to. And that's going to be, I think that's going to be one of the first third-party keyboards that they actually have in the App Store when iOS 8 gets pushed to the public in the fall. So another keyboard that we have is called Flex Key, and basically it's just a little more well-designed iOS keyboard. It's gonna look pretty cool. It's gonna come in different variations of colors, so you can get one. Let's say you wanted a pink keyboard, you'd be able to get that with Flex Key, and you wanted to have swipe at the same time. I think you'd be able to do that as well. So this is very exciting to developers. I think this is probably one of the this and a couple of other things are probably the biggest news for the developers that were at the conference for that conference. So what do you think, Max?
I like how, well, I saw pictures of what they look like, and I have actually used Swipe because I have a Kindle, and it's basically, you use it the same way as you described it. But I really like Swipe, but sometimes it can get on my nerves. So.
Right. So, and that's something hopefully that Apple makes, intuitive. You'll be able to switch from keyboard to keyboard without having to, toggle on and off a different, a million different settings. So hopefully that's going to be intuitive and easy, and, I feel like for iOS 8 and for the iPhone 6, there's going to be a lot more new Apple iPhone and iOS users that are going to be coming to the iPhone, that are going to be switching from Android to iPhone for the first time, and they're probably not going to be able to know how to use it. It's just going to make things a lot more complicated if they introduce this third-party keyboards feature in iOS 8, and they just completely, they say, all right, here it is, it's on, you can do it, it's on your own. You just install the app, and then you have to configure a million different settings like you can on Android. I think it would just, with the World keyboard, when you tap the World button, it'll switch maybe from let's say, from the normal default typing language to, let's say, emoji or French or Spanish or whatever keyboard you have on. So that's a pretty nice way of doing it. So if they added in a different button for something like that, that would also be cool. And actually something that I want to point out too is, I'm not sure if anyone's pointed this out, but emoji is actually one of the default keyboards in iOS 8 now. I'm not sure if they're going to keep that, but I've actually noticed that along with a couple of other things is stock. So I think Apple's just trying to cut down the things that you're installing, because they notice everyone uses emoji, and it kind of gets annoying to install that app and to have to configure it that way. So Apple's basically saying, all right, we know you use this a lot. You use this as much as you use the actual default English keyboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this as a secondary keyboard, and it'll be built right into iOS 8. So I think that's actually a pretty cool feature. That way you don't have to go out and make that iCloud purchase and whatever and get it from the App Store, and you don't have to wait for it to download. Bam, it's just right there. As soon as you install iOS 8, it'll be right there. So that's actually going to be pretty cool. I'm really interested in that. Something else I'm interested in as well is, I'm not sure if you know this, Max, but they actually made iBooks a stock application in iOS 8, which is something actually they haven't done before. I think they made iBooks stock. Maybe they did. I'm not sure, but they made it stock. In this iOS. I think maybe in a previous iOS they made it stock, but it hasn't been stock for a while, so it's stock again. And it just, like I said, it makes things a lot easier. It's a free application, so you can go ahead and install from the App Store, and it wouldn't take long. But it takes away a lot of that, a lot of those extra, minutes trying to look for, the application, trying to install it. If you don't know your password, then you're going to be waiting for that. So it's nice that it's a stock application, but also the implications of that is if you don't want it there, unfortunately, you're not able to delete it. So it's something that you're going to have to keep. And something that you're going to have to do. So what do you think about those, features? I mean, it's just like little minor features, but what do you think about it, Max?
Well, I use emoji sometimes, and I hate having to switch from keyboard to keyboard, so I guess it's better that they're making it that way.
Instead of the little world icon that you see every time you switch, it's gonna be like a little smiley face emoji. So they kind of changed it up a little bit. So like if you tap on the smiley face, then it'll bring up the emoji characters, and you can type using emojis. So I mean, I use emoji fairly often, and I'm sure a lot of people do. So I mean, it's gonna be a feature that it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad they're doing it that way.
I was just gonna say that I barely use iBooks anymore. And if it's a stock application, I might get to use it more now that it's a stock app.
And I mean, we heard a lot of rumors about the fact that Apple is actually going to be introducing its standalone music app, or standalone iTunes radio app. So if you guys know a lot about iOS 7, I know some people that I know, for example, if a mom gets an iPhone or whatever. Then, for example, they might not know that, if they go in the music app, they might not browse iTunes Radio a lot. And that's something, iTunes Radio is like a fairly good feature in iOS 7, but it's something, if you're not in the music app a lot, you're not going to notice it. As soon as you get iOS 7, as soon as you download it, Apple's not like, oh, hey, now you can access our very own streaming service, iTunes Radio. Just go to the music store and hit the iTunes Radio tab. They don't do it that way. They don't do it the same way they did it for Siri back on iOS 5 when they first announced Siri with the 4S. They don't have that little pop-up notification when you first install iOS 5 or iOS 7 where it says, hey, you can use iTunes Video, or hey, you can use Siri by, holding the home button for a short amount of time, and then Siri will pop up and you can ask it a question or blah, 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 or whatever. So, it's one of the things that they're going to have to, we've heard a lot of rumors about it, so it's probably going to be happening. If it doesn't happen in iOS 8 when it gets announced to the public in the fall, well, when it gets released to the public in the fall, if it's not there, it will definitely be in iOS 8.1. And it's very exciting to see that, especially since, Beats and Apple have partnered up together, and Beats has their own streaming service, Beats Music. It's going to be pretty cool to see what happens from there. So after that, I kind of got a little bit off track there, but after that, so basically what else got announced is this new feature called family sharing. So family sharing is a new way to bring harmony to your family's digital life. Up to 6 people in your family can share purchases from iTunes, iBooks, and the App Store without sharing accounts. Pay for family purchases with the same credit card and approve kids' spending right from a parent's device. Easily share photos, a family calendar, and even more to keep everyone connected. So that's actually straight from Apple's website about family sharing. So they introduced that in iOS 8 along with a couple of other things, iCloud Drive, and we'll talk about that. iCloud Drive, you can have the freedom to work with the document of your choice on the device of your choice. You can safely store all your presentations, spreadsheets, PDFs, images, and any other document in iCloud and access them from your iPhone, iPad, etc. on iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite. So, so that's pretty cool. I'm probably not going to be using the family sharing feature much on iOS 8, just because, it's something very minor that iOS 8 is bringing to the table. But, I mean, it's going to be a big push for parents because there's been a lot of people have actually gone back and sued Apple because they've said, okay, well, my kid has my credit card on their device for whatever reason, and, because of this, now they're authenticating purchases by themselves, and they're getting in-app purchases for apps, and they're buying different apps without my permission. And a lot of people, $500 or $600 worth of in-app purchases has been bought by kids that just simply didn't know any better, and their parents got really mad, and they went in and had a lawsuit with Apple, and this whole thing had started. So, I mean, we heard about that a lot. So I think Apple's kind of just trying to say, all right, now, this isn't going to be a problem anymore. Now, in order for, right when you set up the device with iOS 8, you're going to get this family sharing function. And, right when you want to download Minecraft Pocket Edition, for example, right when you want to download that, it's like a $6, $7 app. Parents might not want to pay for that. So right when, someone wants to buy it, they can click authenticate, and then instead of needing to authenticate it, the first thing they're going to need to do is if they're set up on family sharing, they're going to need to go ahead and contact their parents or whatever to make the authentication happen, and that won't happen unless you actually tap confirm on the parent's device. So it's from a parent standpoint, it's a very good edit to iOS. So do you want to take the next thing, Max?
Sure. Next up, we have iOS 8 Health. The new Health app gives you an easy-to-read dashboard for your health and fitness data. So that basically explains it all. But I think we tested it out, and we didn't really get a chance to hook it up. But we got a chance to see what it looks like. And I think that it changes. Like, if you need this, like, it shows you your blood sugar, a bunch of things like that. So it's very innovative,
Right.
I would say.
Yeah, I'd say it's very innovative too. And there was a lot of rumors speculating this. A lot of people thought it was going to be called Health Book, and for a while that's actually what I thought as well. But that is just not the case. It is called Health, just simply Health, not Health Book, just simply Health. And it gives you an easy-to-read dashboard of your health and fitness data. So let's go ahead. I know Max wanted me to put this in here. I know this isn't going to be in the final version of iOS 8, but in the iOS 8 beta, there's this app called Bug Reporter. So I said, basically how I describe it is there's a bug with Bug Reporter. It doesn't allow you to pass the screen that says input your Apple ID. After you tap sign in, the app immediately crashes. It won't be, this of course this won't be on the actual public version of iOS 8 released in the fall. But basically, the reason why this Bug Reporter app is here is it's for the developers. Apple wants to make sure they have everything right this time. They want to make sure there's not a lot of bugs, and we found a lot of bugs. So I wanted to report it, so I opened up the Bug Reporter app, and sure enough, this bug actually existed in Bug Reporter. So it's kind of actually pretty ironic, but hopefully they get around to fixing it. So why don't you take the next one?
All right. iOS 8 iCloud Drive. Now you have the freedom to work with the document of your choice on the device of your choice. You can safely store all your presentations, spreadsheets, PDFs, images, and any other kind of document in iCloud and access them from your iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Mac, or PC.
Right. So I mean, iCloud Drive. A lot of people thought they were doing that to compete with Google Drive and Dropbox as well. And I know that was a popular topic as soon as they announced iCloud Drive. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be a copy of Google Drive, is it? So as he said, you have the freedom to work with your documents of the device. Okay, blah blah blah. So that's pretty much it. So now, what we've all been waiting for, iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite. So another thing that got announced at WWDC, of course, was OS X 10.10 or OS X Yosemite. So that got announced, and it's it's continuity. I'll talk about that in a second, but we're gonna go on to OS X Yosemite now with a new redefined look. OS X never looked so good. With redesigned icons throughout the OS, Yosemite is a fresh new look. So it's very it's a very good new look. I think it's it reminds me of iOS 7. It looks like the OS X version of iOS 7. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I think it's going to be pretty good. What do you think about OS X Yosemite?
I think it's going to be very good, and it has been highly anticipated from the community.
Yeah, so I mean that's something that a lot of people have been talking about since WWDC. And I actually, guys, I can actually tell you because what I actually did. I'll talk about my experience a little bit. So what happened to me was I really, as soon as I saw the new icons, I immediately wanted to try it out. So I tried it out, and then I realized everything was broken. Uvu was broken, FaceTime was broken, Twitter was broken, the Tweetbot client was broken, Final Cut Pro was broken. I can go on and on. Uvu was broken, Skype was broken. I think I already said Uvu. But a lot of different things were broken, and I relied on them to do, my everyday. Sorry, I just burped there. Let's go back. Okay. So I relied on them to do my everyday work. So when all that kind of started breaking and it wasn't working correctly, I kind of got a little scared. So I ended up having. Long story short, I had to put my computer in internet recovery mode, and I had to restore my whole computer. It was a painstaking process. It was a complete mess, and I'm never going to do something like that again. And the funniest part is, I actually repeated what I did with OS X Mavericks. So actually, the same time last year when WWDC 2013 happened, I liked the fresh new look of OS X Mavericks. So I wanted to install OS X Mavericks, but a lot of things were broken, as I had said. A lot of things weren't updated. So I had to do the exact same thing, and I was kind of mad at myself because I remembered as I was doing it for Yosemite, as I was troubleshooting and doing all these things, I remembered, wait, exactly a year ago, I did the exact same thing. So why didn't I learn from it? So next time I think about updating to another OS X, I gotta remind myself, David, it's not as easy as as downgrading from iOS to iOS as it is from downgrading from OS X to OS X. So basically what I did is I went ahead and partitioned my disk. And then what I did, and I recommend this for anyone who's on the fence about trying Yosemite, I would definitely say if you have the storage too, if you have enough gigs, if you have enough gigs of memory on your device and you really want to try Yosemite, I would say all you have to do is partition your disk, and what you do is you go ahead and open up Disk Utility, and you go ahead and partition your default disk. It should say Unentitled or Macintosh HD or whatever it says, and then you partition that. Normally I give it around 50 gigs. If you got 100 gigs or so, I give it around 50 gigs, so that's half the hard drive. And basically what you do is you go ahead and install that right onto that partition. Then once you go ahead and install it, you go ahead and boot that OS using restart the computer and boot that OS using the Option key on your Mac, and you're able to boot between Yosemite and Mavericks if you partition your disk right. So if you partition your disk, I see no reason why you couldn't try it. It's available via the developer portal. You actually have to have a developer's account, but there are other ways of getting it. I'm just not going to go into that because I don't want to shy away from all that. But have you seen? I mean, you've seen the way Yosemite looks. How do you think it looks, Max? Do you like the new redefined icons?
Yeah, and I like the new things that you can do with Yosemite, which we will talk about in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, so there's a couple of new things that Yosemite brought to the table. So there's a brand new dark mode that Yosemite brought to the table. So a lot of people have been complaining, and I know I get this a lot. It happens on a lot of devices. It happens on my Mac, happens on my iPad, on my iPhone. How many times have you been sitting, watching a movie maybe late at night where it's really dark and, you don't feel like turning the brightness down and, it's very bright on your eyes. So with this new dark mode in OS X Yosemite, it'll actually, I think they actually introduce time intervals. So as soon as it's, let's say, 8 o'clock at night, the OS will switch to dark mode. So instead of it, everything turns dark, and you're able to see, see your screen better in the dark. So depending upon where you live and what the time is, and when it gets dark and when it gets light, it'll change from dark to light mode. And that's actually something that you could do with a jailbreak tweak called Flux. And that's a jailbreak tweak for iPad, iPhone, and iPod, as well as it's actually a standalone application for Mac as well. I've actually never used it for Mac. I used it once on my iPad. It's a pretty cool application. It basically uses the time intervals on your iPad or whatever device to be able to let the OS know, okay, well, we have to turn the brightness down because it's 8 o'clock now. We have to do this or do that or whatever. So the thing that we have to talk about is Spotlight. So Spotlight's actually it's fairly, it's one of the things I use a lot. Spotlight now takes up a large portion of the screen, so it's pretty much this big box. It's this big box on the screen, and it looks really similar to this I guess modification you could call it, and it's an application named Alfred. Now, basically, what Alfred allowed you to do, it's basically for OS X Mavericks and below. It's basically what OS X Yosemite Spotlight search has. You're able to search Wikipedia, iTunes, all that stuff, and you're able to search a bunch of different things, and it comes up in a bigger window. So it kind of is like Alfred was predicting what Yosemite would look like, or Yosemite basically copied off Alfred. I don't want to say that because it's a little bit different, but it looks a little bit cool. So now we're gonna go a little bit out of order right now because I do want to tell you guys that iOS 8 Beta 2 actually dropped today as we were prepping for the recording. So I just kind of briefly put this. I quickly put this in here. I don't know what's new in Beta 2 just because we don't know. And it looks like as well OS X Yosemite actually also got updated to OS X Yosemite Preview 2. So that actually got released, and it looks like FaceTime and iMessage connectivity issues reported Tuesday. So it doesn't really say what new things are out for iOS 8 Beta 2. I guess we'll find out about it as time goes on. But if you have iOS 8 Beta 1 already, it's just as simple as an OTA over-the-air update on any device running iOS 8 Beta 1. Basically, you just go to Settings, General Software Update if you're on iOS 8, and you'll see Beta 2 right there. So it's fairly simple, as well as with OS X Yosemite. If you're on OS X Yosemite, all you have to do is go to the Mac App Store and OS X Yosemite, and it should say OS X Yosemite Beta 2 or Preview 2 or whatever it says. So, I don't know exactly, like I said, I don't know exactly what's new in the betas, but they just came out with Beta 2 for OS X Yosemite and iOS 8. So we got hopefully that bug for bug reporters fixed. I'm really hoping to see something along the lines of that, as well as a lot of different bugs happen. So I'm really hoping that I'm hoping that a lot of things got fixed. And I'm also hoping that continuity is added, because I don't think, at least to my knowledge, continuity was not working for me. So if you guys don't know, I'm going to go ahead and go into that. Continuity is a brand new thing that Apple actually announced at WWDC 2014. And basically what continuity does is it basically, so let's start off with continuity phone calls. So basically, now new users of iOS and OS X are now able to make a phone call on their Mac using their iPhone's data plan. So this way, if your iPhone's across the room, you can easily make a phone call without getting up. This also works on iPad. So this is actually a pretty cool feature, and the way they actually showed this off on stage at WWDC was actually pretty cool. They actually went ahead and called Dr. Dre up, which I thought was pretty cool. They called Dr. Dre and they said, let's give him a warm WWDC welcome. So it was pretty cool the way they introduced him. They said, Dr. Dre said, I'm really excited to work with you guys, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it was a very cool way to introduce Dr. Dre to the company, to introduce Beats to the company of Apple. So it was a very cool way. So this is actually probably the biggest thing that Apple announced for developers, Swift. So Swift is an innovative new program language for Coca and Coca Touch. So it's a brand new Coca language. It's a brand new coding language, and it allows basically to update apps to 64-bit architecture and only desktop class architecture for mobile devices, which is something before that they could have never dreamed of. So with this new Swift, it is easier and faster to develop 64-bit architecture applications for iOS. So what this actually is going to do is it's a new program language. So normally apps were actually written in Objective-C for the longest time, but now Apple's actually updating their programming language to Swift. So it's fast, it's more intuitive, and apparently from what I hear, it's a lot easier to use. So now I'm not a developer myself. Unfortunately, we don't have our buddy Seth on here to actually tell us how Swift would actually implicate the developer community. I'm sure he'd be able to. But anyway, so Swift actually seems pretty exciting, and I can't wait to see what developers do with Swift. So next up for iOS 8 continuity, we have the handoff feature. So handoff, I think, was probably one of the coolest things, that and quick reply, that came out of iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite. So now you can start writing an email on your iPhone and pick up where you left off. Sit down, pick up where you left off on your iMac. Or you could browse the web on your iMac and continue with the same link on your iPad. It all happens automatically with your devices all signed in on the same iCloud account. Use handoff with favorite apps like Mail, Safari, Pages, Numbers, Keynote, Maps, Messages, Reminders, Calendar, and Contacts. And developers can build handoff into their apps now too. So that's pretty exciting. So now, let's say you were looking. Okay, so let's say, for example, on eBay, you're looking to place a bid on, let's say, a guitar on eBay. So now, through Bluetooth, you're able to access that same page that you're on with the guitar, and you're able to access that same bid, that same link, without even sending that to you. You're able to access it straight from there just by walking next to your iMac or walking next to your iPad, as long as you have iOS 8 or OS X Yosemite. So it's actually a really neat, really cool feature. I'm really excited to use this. It's gonna, our devices are gonna interconnect like never before. How do you think this is? I mean, this is definitely gonna impact the workforce. It's definitely going to impact the way we're used to doing things. Definitely going to impact a lot of different things. So how do you think it will?
Well, I think it's very good how they're trying to implement new things, and I think that it's going to be very helpful if you're trying to finish one thing, if you're trying to get something done, but then you have to switch over to another Apple device.
Right. And it's just going to be a lot more. Hopefully, it'll be a lot more intuitive. Hopefully, it's just going to make sense. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping it's just all going to make sense. And we'll be able to do stuff like that. So, yeah. So that's pretty much it for the continuity features. So I guess we'll move on. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for WWDC. Yeah. Okay. So the iPhone 6, we've had a lot of rumors gearing up for the iPhone 6.
So, the iPhone 6. Let's just start out with that. Basically, we are all anticipating the iPhone 6, and we are looking forward to it coming out. So, we don't know what to make of it, and we don't know what's going to be used, and we don't know how it's going to look like. But from the time that we left off with the podcast, I would like to say that there have been a lot of rumors about the iPhone 6, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and that's also, we also got to hop on the fact that there was a lot of, since we be gone in the last episode, there's been a lot of jailbreak drama. So I'm going to just skip ahead here. We don't actually have it on the docket. I forgot to say that word. We haven't said docket on the entire episode. How could we not say docket? Anyway, so up next on the docket, we'll talk a little bit about the 7.1.1 jailbreak drama. So anyway, I want to say back in probably last month, something actually happened to Stefan Esser. That's his name, his actual real name. On Twitter, his name is Ionic, and he's a very well-known. He's very well-known in stirring up things in the jailbreaking community. He helped with a lot of jailbreak tools and a lot of different jailbreaks, but he never developed a jailbreak of his own. So now, he was rumored to have been in the process of developing a one-click jailbreak utility called Cyber Elevator. So that's been a rumor for a while. So that actually, he's been teasing a lot of stuff. We saw, so it basically started about a month ago. Where Ionic actually tweeted out his iPhone 5C jailbroken on iOS 7.1.1, which we all know the only firmware to have a jailbreak for 7.1.1, the only device is the iPhone 4 because that uses the Lightning exploit that we all know is famous for in 2012. So that is 2012, sorry, 2010. So that's something that's the only current working jailbreak right now for the iPhone 4. So it was very cool to see that Ionic had got a jailbreak working on 7.1.1 on the iPhone 5C. So that means, and I'm actually really excited for that. As soon as I saw that, I was really, really excited because the iPhone 5C and the iPhone 4 are basically the same. So the reason why I'm excited for that is because I have an iPhone 5. So if it's possible on the iPhone 5C to be jailbroken on 7.1.1, then it's 100% possible on the iPhone 5 because there's really the only difference is the plastic backing. So the internals and everything, the specifications, everything is the exact same except for the outer layer of the device. Other than that, everything is the same from the iPhone 5 to the iPhone 5C. So it makes me a little bit hyped up for what's to come next. There was a lot of news. Pod2G had tweeted out that he was working on something. Maybe a week ago, Ionic had tweeted out that he actually got root access on. Well, he actually tweeted out a picture of terminal running SHSH on his iPhone 5C, and he was running iOS 8. So SHSH is exclusive to jailbroken iPhones. You cannot get it unless you have a jailbroken phone or jailbroken device. So it leads many of us to believe that he has gotten a jailbreak to work, at least in the early stages on iOS 8. So who knows, the iOS 8 jailbreak will probably not be released until iOS 8 gets goes pushed to the public in the fall. We will probably not see it be pushed for a little while. Even though anything's possible, like I've been saying, we just don't know at this point. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Max?
Since we got off of iOS 7.0, everybody's been asking me, where'd your jailbreak go? And I said I had to upgrade so that I can get iOS 8. But sure enough, Beta 1 was too laggy, so I had to go down.
So that's actually something that I wanted to touch on. We haven't really said that publicly. We actually, Max and I both, we were on FaceTime the night we did it. We actually both restored our devices to iOS 7.1.1. So unfortunately for us, no more jailbreak. I'll put in, I'll try to see if I can put in like a track there, like a sad track. But anyway, so, we have no more jailbreak right now currently. We're not saying it's not possible, and I've actually talked to I Hate Snow on Twitter. He said I've asked him a lot, if an iOS 8 jailbreak tool or iOS 8, an iOS 7.1.1 jailbreak will be released. He said it's 100% possible, and it'll probably, if it's released, it'll probably happen fairly soon. That's what he said. It was like a week and a half ago. So hopefully it happens soon. I'm really hoping that I can get my jailbreak back. And switch between 7.1.1 and iOS 8 and be able to test the beta firmware and be able to have a jailbreak at the same time. And hopefully Apple won't patch that, and they'll wait till iOS 8 comes to patch anything that the iOS 7.1.1 jailbreak brought. So it's pretty exciting. So do you think that you'll jailbreak again? Do you think you're ever going to jailbreak again?
Yes.
So if the set, let's see, even though it's probably not, but that'd be a huge coincidence, yeah. So if the 7.1.1 jailbreak happened to launch tonight, for example, would you do it?
Yes.
Why not?
Because I really love my jailbreak, and there's a lot of things that you can do with a jailbreak, and I want it back.
Yeah, I kind of miss being jailbroken a little bit too, but it actually kind of, I guess it's kind of a good thing that we got off of the jailbroken firmware, because now we're able to really experience how iOS works stock. We're able to see everyone's complaints. We're able to see, what Apple's adding in the future. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, I guess. A couple more things before we wrap up for the day, and I'm going to skip a couple of things here. So Cydia actually, I've been keeping up with the news a little bit because my iPad is still jailbroken on 7.0.6 because, I decided iOS 8 was way too buggy when I had it on my iPhone. I decided it was way too buggy and it wasn't worth giving my jailbreak up. So, I updated Cydia. So Cydia has been updated. So if anyone wants to know, I think let me just go check on my iPad real quickly. I think I'm not 100% sure what version, let me just check. Let me check what version that Cydia is. Let's just check. And cue the little thing. Okay, so it is version 1.1.12. So that is Cydia version 1.1.1. Wait, hold on. 1.1.12. So that's what Cydia version is. So basically, it brought a brand new iOS 7 style Cydia icon, which we've actually been waiting for a while. A lot of people with the theme. What is it called? I forget what it's called. It's the theme that we've had for a while. Man, I'm gonna have to. So it is. What is it? Let's see. It is. It's Iris. That's what it's called. So it's called Iris, and actually Iris is a theme that's actually had Cydia themed for iOS 7 for a while now. It's been themed for iOS 7 for since the theme came out. But it has actually not been stock. You still have that iOS 6 old that old iOS 6 little style icon there that you had before. But now it's currently updated. There's this new icon. So it brought that, as well as I'm really excited to see it also brought you can actually have more sources without getting the error that says error, too many sources installed. This apt has too many, and then it won't load the packages for you if you have too many sources installed. So this I actually heard on Reddit, I believe, that the limit for the number of sources that you can have installed in a new Cydia version is actually like a million sources. And Cydia's creator Sarek himself has said you're not going to go over that limit anyway. So I extended it all the way to a million sources. So you're not going to need an update for more sources anyway, because we're not going to go past that limit. So anyway, so it also brings a little bit of a new interface to it. So now instead of having the Manage tab, let me just check on this because I want to be as accurate as possible here. Hold on. So, okay, so I'm just going to quickly check here. So instead of a separate Manage tab, you actually now get where it says Sources, and from there you're able to see both the you're able to get where your sources are and stuff like that. And instead of a, let me just see here. So here, if you go into repositories, it actually breaks it up for you. So if I go into, let's say, Cool Stars, or let's go into the Big Boss repo. If I go into the Big Boss repo, it brings up the different sections. So it goes add-ons, boot logo, add-ons, boss paper, add-ons, color keyboard, and you can scroll all the way down, themes, Springboard, widgets, wallpaper, iPad, utilities, and I'll click on add-ons for Siri, let's just say, and now it gives me an entire list of the add-ons for Siri that that Big Boss has. So it's actually a pretty good new interface, and you tap the refresh tab now, it actually brings up a little red circle while it's loading. It looks pretty neat. So anyway, so the next thing we have to talk about is TouchPal Video shows off upcoming iOS 8 keyboard with sliding text entry. So this is actually something that was actually I'm actually pretty excited about this. This is another iOS 8 little keyboard that has been announced. It looks pretty cool, but as far as keyboards go, I guess it's pretty cool. It looks like Swipe, and it looks like it might even be out before Swipe. So the next thing that we have to do is for developers this year in WWDC, Apple actually announced HealthKit, HomeKit, etc. for iOS. So can we talk about a little bit the implications of HealthKit, HomeKit, and etc.?
Sure.
So let's reiterate here. What does this mean? What does that mean?
I have not tested HealthKit yet, but I assume that it might be something close to hold on. Alright, so HealthKit offers several observers of data and security, from what I understand about this.
Right. So this is I'm on Twitter right now, and I do want to add in I Hate Snow actually just tweeted out a minute ago that today's iOS 8 Beta 2 release to developers expires Thursday, August 7th, 2014 at 12 a.m. So that's just something to know, and that's GMT. So I'm not sure what GMT means, but I know it's like a specific time, but I forget what. I think it's like I don't know what, but I know EST means Eastern Standard Time because that's what we are. But anyway, so yeah, so this is so that's gonna be pretty cool. So what this is a new section that we're gonna introduce in Let's Talk Tech. Where we go ahead and talk about our favorite apps of the week or downloaded apps of the week. So you want to go ahead and start, Max?
Well, it can be a game, right?
Oh yeah, any app.
It has to be new?
No, it's any app that you installed.
Alright, I did not know that we were doing this, but I would say probably the FIFA app because it's the World Cup. Hello?
Right. Yeah, I'm here. So, yeah, so FIFA actually so uh, I didn't really watch the game that much, but I heard USA won, so I'm happy about
Yep.
that. Um, but hopefully they advance to whatever. I'm not like a huge soccer fan, so I don't like watch. I don't really like watch the World Cup, but I probably should just because USA won. I kind of feel like I need to support my country a little bit. But another tweet that Ionic that I hate Snow just tweeted out is third time is the charm. Forgot to change the build to beta 2. So I'm not sure what that means. That might mean that that might mean that he's coding the iOS 8 jailbreak right now, and he forgot to change the build number to beta 2, or whatever.
What's your favorite app of the week? You didn't say.
My favorite app of the week, I probably want to say, let me just go over here. Um, my app of the week is probably games count, right? Yeah. So my app of the week is probably Flappy Golf. So I found out about this app through the App Store. Well, actually, no, I found out about it through one of my friends. One of my friends had it. They were playing it on the bus, and I said, "What is that?" And they were like, "Oh, it's this new app called Flappy Golf." So I downloaded it. It's actually a pretty cool game. Basically, the premise of it is basically the ball is basically the bird from Flappy Bird, and basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to see how many flaps it'll take you to get to the hole. So it all depends on like the number of flaps you have to get to that hole. So I'm playing it right now, and I just cleared the stage, and I had 5 flaps, and it was a pretty hard hole. So it goes by holes, and you can go left or right. You can tap left or right, and if you just it keeps going 15, 16, 17, 27, 28, 29, and it just keeps going, and you can go all the way you want. But it's a pretty cool app. Another app that I have liked so far is Don't Touch, what is it called? Don't Touch the White Tile, I think it's called. Something along the lines of that. But it's a free game in the App Store. Apparently I have a different version of it, but it's actually there's different the reason why I like this version of it is there's different things. Like you can play on classic mode, which is where you have to try to not touch the white tile, which is where the game originates. But there's also other game modes, for example, like catch, and it says don't let the white tile drop to the ground, tap to start, and you basically just tap the white tiles to make sure they don't fall onto the ground. It's a pretty cool little mini game. It gets harder as time goes on. I think my high score is like I don't know, like 60, 70 or whatever. But it gets harder as it goes on. Another thing you can do is online mode, Zen mode, dual mode, arcade, whatever. So it's a pretty cool app. Another app that I'm starting to like a lot is I've liked this for a while, but Smash Hit. So that's a fairly good game that I've been playing for a while. And basically, if you don't know the premise of this game, basically what you do is you have a ball, and basically what you're doing is you want to make sure that you have, uh, you know, you want to make sure that you get the little triangles, the little crystal triangles with these balls that you have, and you tap the screen to throw the balls. I'm actually doing it right now. I want to make sure I don't mess up. But you tap the screen to throw the balls, and you want to make sure you get the balls to smash the little triangular crystals that they have up on screen. And each time you do that, it actually gives you 3 more balls that you have in your little ball inventory here. And then as the stages progress, it gets harder. There's more obstacles. You have to hit different things. For example, a blue triangle or a pink triangle might be like 5 balls or 6 balls or whatever. So it gets hard. It gets harder as time goes on. But it's a pretty neat game, and I like it a lot. Is there anything else you like, Max?
Uh, I like Make It Rain.
Well, that's yeah. I
We
didn't.
already got it.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand the premise of that app. To be completely honest, I didn't understand what the purpose of Make It Rain was. Like, I mean, I get it, but it's just I don't know why you would be like swiping on the screen. Like, sure, I guess it could be an addictive game, but it just to me it didn't really make sense. I didn't understand the premise of that game that well.
It worked for me.
Well, I mean, so what happened? I think I got up to like 510K, and then someone cleared my stats, and I had to start all over again. So I was kind of like, I don't want to play this game anymore. So I just stopped playing the game. But I mean, it was okay, but it just, to me, it didn't make any sense. It was as pointless as Cookie Clicker, the game where you had to like, or the game where you had to like tap the egg a million times, and then after you tap the egg, it like cracked. Like
Cookie, not an egg.
What?
It was a cookie, not an egg.
Well, no, there's the Cookie Clicker is the one that you're talking about, but there's another one, I forgot the name of it, where I used to have it, where if you click it, like you have to click it like 100 million times or whatever. You have to click it like at least a million times, and then it like cracks the egg, and that's basically all that happens. And it says, "Congratulations, you cracked the egg." And it's just like, it's really pointless. It doesn't make any sense to me. So some of those apps just don't make any sense. But yeah, so I guess that pretty much wraps things up over here. So is there anything else we need to talk about? I guess not, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Real quickly, I just want to mention Apple launched their new browse by category in the Apple Store. So that was pretty cool. That's something that they didn't have that Android had. So I guess that pretty much wraps things up around here, huh?
Yep.
Okay, well, it's been a nice time. I've enjoyed being here with you. It's always a pleasure, Max.
Mhm. Same to you.
Hopefully, we'll be able to do this sometime again in the future. Well, we're obviously going to do it again, but hopefully we'll be able to do it, sooner than later. Hopefully, because I leave for camp in August, so or not August, sorry, in July I leave for camp. So hopefully we'll be able to do it. We'll be able to do at least one more episode before I leave for camp. I know it's been busy with you and bar mitzvahs and that kind of stuff, and our schedules really haven't coordinated. So hopefully we're going to be able to get together again. I'll try to figure out, maybe we could do something other than live streaming. Maybe we could do like an IRC chat and have like live questions and answers. We tried to do that, but it didn't work so well. So if it works, let us know. Hopefully this episode is good. Anyway, guys, I guess that's it. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That's about it for Let's Talk Tech episode number 12. Thanks for watching, guys. And yeah, that's it. See you in the next one. Same time next week, Max?
Sure.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.